Welcome to the Sip and Swish. My name is Jason Stoltz. I'm here with Nick Reed and Lucas McLean. And it's our second Sip and Swish podcast, a holiday one, if you will. You guys have a nice Christmas?
It was a lovely Christmas.
It was probably my best Christmas. I've never received so many gifts in
Wow.
my life than this Christmas. I don't know. I was really lucky. Usually I only get socks and pants. I'm not even kidding. That's always what I get. Because one day I'll get a big boy job. And I'll need to use those pants. It happens every Christmas.
Wow. Gifts with like a ulterior motive.
Yep. It's a backhanded present.
Love you, Mom.
Thanks, Mom.
We all actually got together this Christmas, like late afternoon. Got together, watched some of the games. Tied one on a little bit. At least two members of the Sip and Swish podcast are working on a pretty good hangover.
It's rough.
But we're pushing through. We're surviving. So let's jump into the first quarter. The best and worst from this past week in the association. And Christmas 2017. The games were a definite swish. It was a great lineup of games. The NBA hit the nail on the head. They didn't make us watch, Bulls versus Spurs. Thank you.
That would have been terrible.
That would have been rough. And it was great for the league, great for the spectators. The first four games were up 39% in viewership from last year.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah. So it was great. Each of the first four games, pretty highly contested. Back and forth matchups. And what did you guys think?
I liked the games a lot. I thought they were really enjoyable. The Thunder Rockets game was the highest rated NBA primetime Christmas game since 2003, which was when LeBron's first Christmas game, I believe.
Wow.
So
Sounds about right.
That was the game I was looking forward to. For the past 2 weeks, looking forward to Thunder Rockets. I think it's like the super rivalry. It's who was Durant's best teammate fight. Was it Westbrook or was it Harden? And my heart really wants to say Westbrook, but my brain is like, no, we all like Harden. Harden's probably the better teammate, but
Yeah, it was a great Christmas when my biggest Christmas regret was not putting my 2-year-old daughter in her Westbrook jersey.
oh, that would have been perfect.
That's the only thing that I feel like I missed out on. Everything else was perfect. Fun dinner, good company, a lot of whiskey. But man, that girl is pretty darn cute in a Westbrook jersey.
Could have had a mini Westbrook running around.
Right?
That was perfect.
Also swishing it over the last week, the Raptors. 10-1 in the month of December. What do you guys think?
I think they've really put it together, and I think they've been trying to get the league's acceptance as being one of the top tiers, a contender of the league. They've been kind of like, oh, LeBron's there, they can't push through. But that series when they took the Cavs to 6 was kind of, everyone was like, okay, maybe this team's good. And then last year
2 years ago, right?
2 years ago. Last year they didn't do so hot, and now they're like, everyone's like, oh, you guys missed your opportunity. Kyle Lowry's, getting old. He's not going to be too well. But DeMar moved up to 6th place in MVP race. So he took over Clint Capella's spot up there. So
Poor Clint.
But he's been playing outstanding this year, DeMar.
The Raptors are just doing great. Yeah, you said they were 10-1. 13. I had 13-2 because they lost tonight. But they have the fourth ranked offense, 5th ranked defense. They have the least amount of losses in the East. They have the highest scoring bench. They're the least talked team in the league, and they're probably a top 5 team overall too, because they were always shuffled underneath the Cavs and Celtics, but everyone had them at a Wizard spot, but they're just clearly better than the Wizards in almost every single part of the game. They're better than the Wizards.
So I'm glad you brought that up. During our pre-pod meeting, I had jotted down a note, which is our DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry a poor man's Wallen Beal.
Ooh.
We all know how this pod feels about Bradley Beal. Not a fan.
Not a huge fan.
That being said, I would take Wallen Beal over DeRozan and Lowry.
I guess like building a team, I'd probably say the same thing, but only because Wall it gives that edge over Lowry, because Lowry's peaked right now. This is it. Lowry's got to be on his last just gas right now. Like, this is it. And the Raptors bench is just carrying them, and they have DeMar, who's in his prime. Wall is so much better than Lowry, but DeMar is so much better than Beal. Like, DeMar's got to be his top 3 shooting guard. It's like a whole tier level. It's not like one rank. It's just DeMar's up here, Beal is down here. Like, when Wall was out, Beal really couldn't carry that team at all. It was like Beal was just doing handoffs. The entire offense was just pick and roll, pick and pop, but Beal was just getting these handoffs, and he was supposed to just hero ball it, and Beal's not good enough to do that. So I would take DeMar over Beal.
And I think another point is, in the playoffs, Kyle Lowry really chokes. Like, he shoots like 30%, and he just... everything falls apart he gets in the playoffs, so then it is DeMar carrying that team. But I also think John Wall and Beal complement each other a little better than Kyle Lowry or John Wall and DeMar together. I think that would be...
That's probably because like Beal's can spot up.
Beal can spot up.
DeMar can't.
DeMar doesn't spot up.
If DeMar was more like a distributor, I think Lowry would spot up. Like, the roles would be reversed from both teams. But DeMar can't facilitate as well as Lowry. And he can't shoot outside of 18 feet. So, I would go Wizards with that.
Yeah, I think I would definitely take the Wizards backcourt, even though I don't like Bradley Beal.
So if these two teams wound up seeing each other in the playoffs, which is possible,
yeah,
they could get in as the 1 and 4 seed, with Toronto and DC respectively. I'm not saying I bank on that by any stretch, but if they enter the playoffs like that, they meet in the second round. What do you guys think?
I think the Raptors would I think it would be 4-2. Raptors win it, and I think it would be heavily because of the bench.
Okay, that was going to be my next question. Would it be the stars, or would it be that supporting cast or the bench? Or
I think the supporting cast would have like a net rating of like, at the end of that series, like a plus 60. Like, I think over the course of those, how many quarters, it all adds up to that bench scoring 6 more points in this quarter than the other bench. Bench v bench, it's just the Raptors keep adding up, and then the starters kind of equal themselves out. Because I don't know if Ibaka has much left on offense to do any sort of... He can be spot up in the elbow.
Stretching it a little bit.
Ibaka's 45, regardless of what he's telling people.
He peaked way too early. I think the Raptors, I'd say, of the contending teams in the East and the West, maybe next to the Celtics, they have the brightest future still. They have some really good young talent. And Kyle Lowry is going to fall off in a couple of years. His prime was probably 2 years ago. It was peak Kyle Lowry. And I think they've got that OG Anunoby?
I didn't want to say it because I was going to butcher it.
Yeah, I butchered it for you.
It's
OG.
OG is really good. He's a top 30 3-point shooter. He's averaging like 44% from 3.
And he was I think he was a late lottery?
Yes.
He was a late lottery, I want to say. Maybe in the 16s.
There's a lot of sleepers in this draft that are just outperforming themselves.
But I think their future, compared to like a Cavs where they're super old, I think the Raptors might be able to contend a little bit longer than people are expecting if they can replace Kyle Lowry in the point guard.
Yeah, they can keep in the playoffs for a very long time with that young bench.
Houston Rockets. You Sip. What changed? What happened to you? This was a rough week for the Houston Rockets. You have CP3 getting dinged up. I don't even want to say hurt, but getting dinged up, and they've lost their last 3 games. What's going on in Houston?
I mean, I don't understand because Harden put up 2 straight games of 51 points, so I'm not sure if he was just trying to hero ball it, but they lost to 2 bad teams. They lost to the Lakers, which, I'm a Lakers fan, but not doing so hot this year, and then they lost to the Clippers a couple days later. Both games Harden went off. CP3 got hurt in the Lakers game. It could just be a bad week. It could be our Sip and Swish curse, that when we say a team's doing really well, they're going to turn the corner.
Right, we threw a lot of praise in their direction.
And they took it the wrong way.
It's their one-trick pony of last year, is what they reverted to. Mike D'Antoni went on a rant about how there was no energy, they were just banking on jacking up threes, and it was like, okay, well, your plan is to jack up threes, but when they had CP3, there was so much more driving and actually dishing. He was taking mid-range shots, Nene was taking mid-range shots, Ryan Anderson had some weird fadeaway mid-range shot, probably shouldn't have taken, but without CP3, they're this one-trick pony with Harden still trying to draw 20 fouls a game. And he's averaging 44, 10, and 5 in his last 3 games, and they're all losses. There's not much more he can do, but I want a stat that adds turnovers plus, bad missed shots. That's a total turnover and not getting back on defense.
Yeah.
So it's
I see what you're saying.
If Harden takes a really bad shot and he's trying to just draw a foul, that should count as a turnover. And then you add up, I bet Harden has a ridiculous number, this made-up statistic. I bet it's insane. He jacks so many bad shots for fouls and then doesn't get back on defense.
I think you need to make this, and then we can, solely use this stat for everybody.
Yes.
We could call the stat sipping.
Sipping. I like it. When a player is sipping.
It makes sense, too, when he's in the playoffs, too.
I don't know, I don't like watching. I just don't like watching Harden. It's not fun.
It's crazy because you think he's, Durant's, protege, best teammate, and you hate watching him.
There's 3 completely different players.
It's beautiful.
It's kind of cool, though. I always wish they could have stayed together, but their play styles, it wouldn't make any sense now looking at it. They're way too different. Durant's super efficient. Harden's efficient, but he just draws fouls, and Westbrook is just an athletic, kill the hoop player. He can't shoot. They're completely different.
Well, I think this puts some good insight into the playoffs. If CP3 gets hurt, he's been a little bit injury prone. Maybe it's not serious injuries. He'd play through them, obviously, because he's CP3. But if they do lose Chris Paul in the playoffs, and they're just going to see James Harden trying to hero ball it again, that's their series gone. No matter who they're playing, they're probably they're gonna lose that.
Do you ever see CP3 playing more than 60 games a year, ever again?
He doesn't have to.
Yeah, there's no reason.
I guess you wouldn't want him to do that. What if he's not physically able to do it though? Not they're just resting him to rest him. What if he can't do it, and then when he gets to the playoffs, he still can only play 70% of the games? Do you really invest a third of your cap into a player like that?
I think he retires. I think he's always said that he wanted to retire young.
He did say that.
And I think him being not able to play would just be he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to play 2 quarters of the games, half the season, 70% of the playoffs. He wants to play every game.
The weirdest thing about that is if
But he looks so good in turtlenecks sitting on the sideline.
That is very true.
I haven't seen someone rock so many turtlenecks since a Banana Republic commercial in the late 90s.
That's a fad, though, that's coming back. I've seen Patrick Beverly was wearing it. Booker was wearing it. It's the turtleneck with the chain, but it's like the old Rock commercial. It's when The Rock was making advertisements. That was his very first ad. He's in a jean jacket. He has a turtleneck, and it's super dorky, and he has it as his Twitter picture right now. It's really funny.
I was wondering how that was so fresh in your mind. So second quarter, where we get into news, drama, and beefs around the league. We're going to start it off with some injury updates. Stephen Curry allegedly 2 to 3 practices from returning, and Devin Booker returns this very evening.
You know, the Suns are getting back Devin Booker, arguably their only good player.
He's the only team. It's been so hard to watch that I stop after the first quarter because there's only so many times you can watch. Mike James, we got cut. Thank you. Thank everyone involved in that decision. Bender, Chris, Josh Jackson. They're all so bad right now because they're so young. They're all 20 years old.
I know every one of the players you just said.
Now I look back to like the earlier summer when Phil Jackson was so ready to trade Porzingis for Josh Jackson. That would have been the biggest trade.
Looking back at it, I was sad that I wasn't super supporting of that because, Porzingis hadn't broken out yet. You know, he was really good on defense. He's a unicorn, but he wasn't dropping 29 a night.
I don't know if you could say he hadn't broken out yet.
I didn't think he was like right now. I would say Porzingis is like star territory, like star. I wouldn't say Porzingis was like a star last year though. I think he was like 17-9 a night. He had like 2.5 blocks, but like now he's averaging like 25 and 10. Like he's like it's like a new tier of Porzingis.
He definitely made that step. A lot of the talk was about how Phil, you know, getting rid of Carmelo. Maybe Porzingis wouldn't do as well. He didn't have the spacing. But
Porzingis didn't go to the exit meeting, and that made Phil furious. Yeah, and I wish that happened. I was also a fan of Bledsoe at the time, and then Bledsoe just stabbed me right in the back and my heart and the rest of my body, and he's like, no, I don't want to be on the team anymore.
Phoenix Suns.
It's a lot of stabbing.
Not a great organization right now, but we'll see because they want to win the championship by 2019.
Booker has 30 points right now. It's the fourth quarter.
That's good. It's a good return for Phoenix. They needed something because they were desperate.
Isaiah Cannon though, new point guard.
He's back.
He's balling.
He's back.
He's back.
The days he was on the Rockets and he would just randomly come in and drop 20-something points, and everyone was like, okay, like, why are you a thing?
So one thing I've brought up before, and it didn't make week 1 podcast, was why is Booker underrated? It feels like he's really underrated. And if not underrated, then certainly under-discussed, amongst the ESPN crowd. Mm-hmm. You just really don't hear his name as much as you would imagine someone who puts up, the points per game that this kid does. Like, what's the deal with that? Is it just that he plays in Phoenix?
That's it.
I think I think it's two-pronged. I think it's that he plays in Phoenix. There's not going to be any attention right now. But also he's not this super advanced statistic player. Like right now he's on Phoenix and he has to be. He's not a chucker, but that's what he's labeled as a chucker. He's categorized with Wiggins, but Wiggins is a chucker. Wiggins got paid, and now he's just this ghost of what we thought Wiggins could be. But Booker is this guy that will drop 30 a night. He's going to shoot 45%, which the super nerds at ESPN hate. But
Lucas is our resident super nerd.
Yeah.
just so our listeners know.
Yeah, he just isn't loved by the advanced statistic people, and I think that's a big thing about it. I think that's the biggest thing with ESPN analysts right now. They just love their advanced stats. That's why they love Jokic. He's a great player. The advanced statistics love him. People don't like Donovan Mitchell because of advanced stats. They don't. It's shooting guards don't fare well in advanced stats, so they don't talk about him as much.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Shooting guards are not really loved.
They aren't loved. They're like, I don't know.
They're very polarizing players.
Yeah, they can win you and lose you games because they have to be the ones that score the bucket basically all the time.
I've seen NBA fans trying to argue that Courtney Lee is a better shooting guard than Booker because he averages blocks.
Yep.
That's crazy.
And that's insane to me.
Yep, that was the thing. I had so many fights with people about that on the internet. Random people saying like, oh, Courtney Lee is spot up player. He's 3-and-D, and he gets a block a game. He's better on defense. I'd take Courtney Lee over Booker. No, I'm gonna take the guy that drops 70 points.
Right. When Devin Booker hits his prime, he's going to be the greatest scorer in the NBA. Not like in the NBA history, obviously.
At the time.
Yeah.
If you think of that,
there's no one else that I can think of that's going to be hitting their prime at the same time as Booker that I think has anywhere near the ability just to put the ball in the bucket, regardless of advanced statistics.
I would have said Wiggins. Like, I really thought coming into last year, Wiggins was going to be that assassin, but he doesn't have that in him.
You're just on a mission to hurt his feelings, huh?
I think Wiggins is now in a bad spot.
I think so too.
I think it's just the team. I think it's Thibs, and I think it's that team now. He's not the number one. He's probably the number 3 option.
Wolves
if not
fans
4.
are furious with Wiggins because he's being paid like $26 million a year, and he's only putting up 14 and 5. And he's like, you were the number 1 pick. You were supposed to be like Tracy McGrady 2.0, and it never happened because you just gave up. It's really what happened. He just gave up. He's paid. Keep getting them checks.
Send me some too.
So yesterday we had the LeBron foul, no foul at the end of the game. KD did or didn't foul him. I guess it depends on. I don't. For me at least, I thought it comes down to real time versus slow-mo replay. When I saw it in real time, even today, when I wasn't consuming quite the number of beverages that we were yesterday, I didn't think it was a foul at the rim. You know, at the top of the key, I think, you know, when he was kind of checking him, sure, that was a foul, but it didn't really impact the play. You know, you could have blown the whistle there, but why? It's a Christmas game. You know, let's keep the flow going. But that's how I saw it, at least. In real time, I didn't have a problem with a non-call. When you slow it down, sure, it's a foul.
I think it was... No, the fact is the NBA came out and said it wasn't just one non-call. There was 4 total non-calls in the last minute and 12 seconds.
I thought you were about to say 4 non-calls on LeBron, like...
No. It was 3 fouls committed by Durant.
Oh, wow.
On LeBron. He reached in, he slowed his momentum, they said. Affected LeBron's speed, quickness, balance, and rhythm when he first made that drive into the basket. So they should have called the foul there. He goes up, he hits his arm. Because at first I was like, oh no, like, whatever. Like, Durant gave him way too much space. And LeBron just barreled through. But then after watching it 3 or 4 times over. But I think this speaks to a larger issue of why do we have the replay center if we can't be like, wow, we just missed those calls. And it's only in the last 2 minutes. To a certain extent, if all you can do is change the out of bounds.
Yeah. I think as an NBA purist, I would, like, agree. Like, if you're going to review the last, 10 seconds, review everything in the last 10 seconds. But then I think actually watching a game, like if I was sitting down having a beer, watching the game, and I have to watch these refs make a decision for like 10 minutes over one play, like at some point it's just basketball is basketball. Sometimes there's bad plays. I think that's kind of just part of basketball. At some point it's just like a ref made a mistake. Some dude made some mistake, cost them the game, but both these teams are like, you know, a shoe-in almost for the finals. So it's like this game was meaningless as well. If this was like end of the season and this happened, and if it was like the Raptors were on the line for like the 2nd seed or something and this happened to DeMar, like I would be having a hissy fit. But
exactly
right. I think the NBA, has to be wary of getting to where the NFL is with their replays. I'm a big NFL fan as well, definitely not to the same extent, and in large part it's just because of like the pace of the game, and it's just not as fun to watch as the NBA. It's so herky-jerky,
right.
And there have been a lot of catches in the NFL this year, catches or non-catches, that have literally been determined by slowing everything down to just these like weird milliseconds that you know you can crunch down to.
Right.
And who cares at that point? You know what I mean? It's just, I almost find it irrelevant what happens in that millisecond. I want to see it in real time. I want the refs to see it in real time. Mm-hmm. And I want a decision to be made.
I enjoy the human element, and I agree with Van Gundy when he's like, these are just free timeouts. These players, like, each replay, like, sometimes they'll be like, that's clearly out, but they still spend 2 minutes doing it. Like, we'll watch each angle, and it's like, okay, the one angle you saw that clearly out, get them back on the court. They shouldn't allow the players to go to the bench. They should literally have to stand on the other side of the floor. They can talk to each other amongst each other. They shouldn't be getting water or Gatorade. They shouldn't be getting anything else. It shouldn't be a free timeout. And I know, like, when I played soccer, you can't go, if there's a foul, you can't go over to the bench. You can't talk to your coach.
Right.
They need to enact that. Because otherwise, right now, they can talk amongst each other, make up a play if they want to the next video, but they're slowing the game down way too much at the end. So many non-real fans say, like, I can't watch the last 2 minutes of an NBA game because it's 15, 20 minutes long.
It almost feels like...
And the NBA has done a good job with some of the rule changes this year to make the end of the game a lot more concise. And I've enjoyed that.
I definitely have, too. It almost feels like... It does feel like a free timeout because any player can wave his finger around like this and ask for the replay center. You can ask for, like, a 30-second break. It's really a weird concept that you don't see in any other game. But in football, I guess they review every turnover now all the time, or there's too much pausing. That's what I'm not a fan of, is all the pausing now.
Absolutely. So one thing that we all really enjoyed yesterday, outside of the games themselves and the beverages, was Bleacher Report put out a NBA Christmas drawing image. I don't know how you would really fully describe it, but if you haven't seen it, you can see it for yourself. You can find it on Twitter at Sip and Swish. We're gonna have it up, so feel free to check it out. And it's great. So it's basically just throwing shade at a lot of the league's top players in a totally, like, good-natured, fun sort of way. You guys want to talk about maybe some of your favorite, like, images contained within it?
My personal favorite is Tristan Thompson sitting in the corner with a package from Khloe Kardashian. Everyone knows they're having a baby together. But it's first sent to James Harden because that's who she was dating, I believe, last year. But that's crossed out, and then she rewrote Tristan on the side of the box, and that's in the bottom left corner, and he's just kind of looking there, like, confused.
That's a great one.
I think my favorite is just Westbrook's shenanigans the whole time. At the top, he's filling Katie's stocking with coal, and then he gives Durant a present. It's a I don't know what it's called, but just snakes pop out of this can.
Yeah, it's your classic snake in a can.
Snake in a
gag.
can.
Classic bamboozle.
Durant's like, why?
Haven't heard that word enough lately. That really needs to re-enter the vernacular. I think my favorite is Lonzo Ball reading Shooting for Dummies. As much as I know it breaks Nick's heart.
Yeah. I like Isaiah Thomas being picked up by LeBron to put a star on the tree.
That's a good part. Third quarter, the Lucas list, as it's become affectionately known to all of our huge fans out there. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what the list is this week and get us going.
All right, so this week it's the top 5 rookies and sophomores in the league. Kind of makes me sad that I can't do the juniors as well. I would love to add the 2015 draft class, but these players are pretty awesome as well. Number 5, I have Brandon Ingram, Mini Durant, as he was drafted as. He is a really raw Durant. He was his rookie year. He's averaging 16 and 5 now. He can you see rookie Durant in this guy, but that's why I think his potential's so high.
You see rookie Durant in this guy.
I
don't see rookie Durant in this guy.
I see rookie Durant. The thing is, I see rookie Durant, but Ingram has the body of like a 16-year-old Kevin Durant. Like, Durant was drafted, same height, but 25 pounds heavier than Ingram. Ingram was drafted at 195 pounds. He's almost 7 feet tall. That's too skinny.
A twig.
He's actually lost weight. He's now listed at 189.
I think he probably just lost fat, and now he's gonna have to bulk up.
He has to just eat. But he can do anything on the court, though. You know what I mean? He's shooting efficiently. He's shooting well enough, but he's only shooting 16 a game, but you have Kuzma and Lonzo.
I don't know if I'd say efficient. I mean, he's not overly inefficient.
Right. But he's shooting like 35% from 3, which is average.
Yeah, roughly.
I think maybe he's shooting average around. He's shooting 45% from the field-ish. He's shooting...
16 points a game, not bad. His hair should probably disqualify him from all lists that are positive.
That hair is really killing me. I mean, as a Laker fan, I love this step that Ingram's taken. He's gone above what I expected. I really had doubts after last year, but I think Luke Walton's kind of given him the reins to just get the ball to the basket. I think the next step he has to take is being able to drive in and see the rest of the floor and be able to dish out. But right now his focus is get in there and score. And when we need like 5 or 6 points, that's the guy we're going to.
You just give it to Ingram.
We're getting to Ingram. He's getting in there and he's getting to the rim.
Yeah, he's your most developed scorer. Absolutely. Where do you think... How do you see his ceiling versus Kuzma's?
I think Ingram's ceiling is higher.
Ingram's ceiling is much higher. I think Kuzma's really already developed because he was in college for longer.
His body's developed. He's like 240. He has the body of Simmons, basically. Like, the thing with Ingram...
Russell Simmons, hip-hop mogul?
Yes. But yes, Ingram's such a defensive liability. And I think the biggest issue is he still can't stretch the floor. Like, he doesn't play the 4 at all. He doesn't play power forward. I think that's such a big thing for him right now because he should be he's 6'10". He should be able to play the power forward position, but he only plays at 10% of the time, so like 3 minutes a game.
We don't need any more power forward than the Lakers.
Sure, I guess you have.
We have 3. Nance, Randall, and Kuzma taking up our power forward position.
Okay, so you don't need Ingram to stretch it, but
he
should be able to play that position. He needs to be at Durant's weight when Durant was a rookie. He needs to add 30 pounds.
And just to clarify, when you were making this list, are you stacking them up just simply in terms of their play right now, or are you projecting it all?
I think I'm doing both.
Okay. So it's a combination of how they're playing this year as well as where you're projecting them
potential
over the course of their career.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
At 4, I have Jason Tatum. He's killing it on the Celtics. 14-6. He's in a very strange 50-50-80 club, shooting 50% from 3 on 3 attempts a game. 2nd in the league. He's top 20 in minutes, top 20 in offensive defensive rating, 11th in win shares, 6th in true shooting percentage, and 4th in defensive win shares.
Well, I'm glad that you left a lot for us to talk about, since you just stole every piece of what I had written down. I'll maybe just add to what you said in the sense of, I mean, obviously he's super efficient. So what is he lacking? Like, what's missing there? Why is he only number 4 on this list? Because that's an impressive club to be in. 50, 80, and then he's just under 50 right now from 3. But I mean, essentially, it's 50, 80, 50.
My biggest gripe on him that puts him down on this list is he's not the number one option. Not that he's not that he hasn't been yet. And every lineup in which it's just Tatum out there. There's no Horford. There's no Kyrie. It's like Tatum and Brown. Their net rating is so low. And it's because in those situations, Tatum's the number one option. And, he's still a rookie. It's hard to, knock him. But he's not that offensive guy right now that can just drop it. He can't put up 30. Or he can't put up, 20 plus in a whim. He needs, if he was given 6 minutes, I don't think in 6 minutes he can just score 12.
So he's lacking one of the things that we just complimented Ingram about, right?
Yeah, he can't pull an Ingram, we need buckets. Get Ingram the ball. Get someone the ball. You can't say, get Tatum the ball. That doesn't work. He's this super efficient player in this system. It's like the knock on Kawhi. He's a system player, which I don't really think he is. I think he's just amazing. But I think Tatum right now is a system player. He's a perfect system player. But I think that's where he falls. But he has a ton of potential to be what everyone wants him to be. Paul Pierce. But I don't think he's there yet.
I don't know if maybe he gets there, maybe he doesn't. I think he could be a super refined 3-and-D guy. To be the peak performance of that. I think he's going to have a great career. I think the Celtics swindled the 76ers and just totally trade those.
The thing is, right now, I don't know. I mean, don't the Sixers only get that pick if it's 2 through 5? And then if it's not 2 through 5, the Sixers get the pick back? Celtics get it when it's 2 through 5.
No, I think they straight up.
Oh,
the Lakers
Oh wow!
I think the Sixers straight up traded that.
Well,
because they really wanted Fultz. And now, do you think Tatum is the best player in the draft? Do you think he should have been number one?
I think the Celtics would have took him number one. He's probably a number one caliber. Well, right now we haven't seen much of Fultz.
True.
And I put him above Lonzo.
Fultz without even playing above Lonzo. He looks better than Lonzo by not playing.
Is this though? Everyone's
Lonzo has a lot of raw stats on his side. He doesn't have a lot of efficiency on his side.
It's hard. It's really hard for me. He's shooting poorly. His form is terrible. But it's really hard to see a guy averaging 10, 7, and 7 being
right.
And a steal or a block.
Steal
and a block a game. And being oh, you're not a good rookie.
Right.
I feel like if you use the eye test, though, and you've certainly watched more Lakers games than either of us, but when I watch the Lakers and I watch Lonzo and I'm not looking at the box score at the end of the night, I'm like, Lonzo, you're bad.
But that's the beauty of it, because everything else is there.
Only because of that shot.
The shot
it's
is terrible.
the free. It affects he's only shooting 48% from the line, too. It's the negatives of Lonzo, just watching it, just outweigh it. I could watch Lonzo go 0 for 2 from the line, seeing him take that shot, and just cringe. And then he could do 2 straight great things, but I'm just his negatives are so glaring.
The Sip and Swish is really good at bringing it back to Lonzo Ball. Let's continue with the list.
Okay. Number 3 is Donovan Mitchell, who has become one of my favorite players just because I think he's comparable to one of the most underrated players of all time, Monta Ellis. Same height, same weight, same stats.
I kind of missed
across the board. I love Monta. The difference between Donovan Mitchell and Monta is Donovan Mitchell can play defense. And he's also on a defensive beast of a team. In December, he's averaging 24, 3, and 3, with 2 steals a game. All the people negative against him have the same things that they have for Booker and Wiggins, and he's a volume shooter, and right now he is, but it's kind of the situation he's in is he has to put up points because no one on the Jazz do anything on offense. So it's Donovan Mitchell, you're this 21-year-old, I don't know, Monta Ellis. He's 30 pounds heavier than Monta. He's actually basically D-Wade. though. He's D-Wade rookie size, playing like Monta Ellis. I think he's like this new generation of combo guard that no one really wants a combo guard anymore because they're either too short to guard real shooting guards. Like, he's too short to guard Booker. Like, Booker's 6'8". You're not guarding Booker anymore. You can't guard DeRozan. You can't guard... There's so many people that these combo guards can't guard, but if you can have that mismatch...
You should call for Carlisle, and he will trade everything for Donovan Mitchell and make the combo guard position the greatest position in the league. I mean, first rookie since Blake Griffin to score 40 points. He came out... He might be pushing for a Rookie of the Year fight with the next player on this list.
Next person on this list is Ben Simmons. 17, 9, and 8. 2 steals and a block a game.
My Sixers.
At this rate, I don't really know what more positives I can add to this guy.
More wins would be ideal.
He could win more. He could
win without Embiid.
Right, win without Embiid. That would be pretty phenomenal.
It'll never.
Can you think of a thing, watching him courtside, could you think of a thing that he couldn't do?
Shoot the ball.
Take away like an outside shot situation. Every other aspect of his game was so fun to watch.
You know, he reminds me of another player that can't really shoot, but he had some outstanding court vision. He could rebound the ball.
See about
Why
Alonzo?
is this happening? Why is this happening?
He's Alonzo Ball.
This is time for my Sixers, and you're bringing it back to your Lakers.
Ben Simmons is outstanding. He's everything I wanted him to be, except for that shot. I really thought the year off, he would develop the shot.
There was like that weird 2-week span that the coach told him to start taking shots on the outside. And Simmons said, just after the game, he's like, Coach told me to shoot more, but I don't like it. I don't want to do it anymore. And I think that might be a true deficit to him. Like, he's so uncomfortable and just they might lose the game, but if Coach says shoot, just to get experience, and you're too uncomfortable doing it, I mean, you're supposed to be the next Magic, and he kind of might be. I really like that comparison of Magic Light.
Yeah, I think he's an underrated defender as well.
Oh yeah,
there have been a lot of games where crunch time. I mean, he's taking the other team's best player, and he looks pretty good defending them.
That triple overtime game when they played the Thunder, he played for 3 overtimes and most of the fourth quarter with 5 fouls, and didn't foul out.
And he was guarding Westbrook.
And he didn't take fouls. There was a few times where he would back straight off and be like, I'm not touching it. I'm not getting out of this game. But he was still playing outstanding defense. There was that time where it was Simmons versus Ingram. On an odd day of the week, I would take Ingram over Simmons.
Yeah, I don't know. Simmons is such on a different level than every single person on the court.
It is funny though, not to bring it back to Lonzo, but Simmons definitely there's a little bit of Lonzo only in the sense that I'll watch an entire Sixers game, and there will be flashes, and it's fun to watch him, but I'll be like, yeah, he didn't have the best game, but then you look at that box score, kind of just like Lonzo, and he's doing so many of the little things right.
Everything else but the scoring. Exactly.
That even if it's not visually impressive, the end of the day, he's making a significant impact.
He's a rookie and he's almost triple-double.
That might be the difference, though, between Lonzo and Simmons, not just that Simmons is far superior. Simmons takes really efficient shots. Lonzo might not... they both are not good shooters at all, but Simmons won't shoot outside of 15 feet. He'll do a floater from 14. Every single shot is so close to the hoop. He'll end a game with going 6 and 9, and they're all layups and dunks. Lonzo will go 4 for 13, and half of them are threes. Lonzo's taking really inefficient shots. Simmons can't shoot, but he's taking really efficient shots.
It helps he's 6'10". And a monster.
He is an absolute monster.
So who do you got number 1?
Number 1 is Joel Embiid. Because he's just a beast. And I think that it's only appropriate to compare him to two other great big men of all time, Tim Duncan and Hakeem Olajuwon. Same age, same year in the league, both sophomores. He's averaging more points per game, more assists, more rebounds in 7 minutes less than those two great players.
And his social media is way better than theirs.
Oh, Tim Duncan would have been insane in the social media age because he wouldn't have had it.
He wouldn't have been a All-Star.
I think Embiid could be the next star top player of the league for the next 10 years. If he can stay healthy.
That's the biggest thing, and seeing him at number 1 on your list, I can't disagree, especially as a Sixers fan. It's great. I mean, your top 2 are Simmons and Embiid. I feel very good about the future. I don't know. Maybe it's just being a Philly sports fan and always expecting the worst. But it's hard for me to imagine Embiid having the career that we all want him to have. And it's not talent. It's not anything else. It's just, can his body hold up?
Yeah.
And if it does, I agree with you, Nick. I think he's the best player in the league for at least 5 years of his prime. I really do. He's so phenomenal. It's just beautiful to watch, honestly. It is. Like, I wouldn't say that about a lot of players.
And you can, putting him and Simmons next to each other, like that lineup's so massive. They're so big.
Right, you want to talk about complementary pieces.
That those are two players. You get the Embiid who's going to kill it inside and even outside too. His shot, because he was so raw, and they got to spend 2 entire years with NBA trainers, NBA health, training staff to just build him.
It's literally like rookie Magic Johnson and rookie Hakeem Olajuwon on the same team right now. It's that spooky. I think they're super spooky. Like, if they could grow together, nothing bad happens. Like thunder-wise, like grow apart. Knock on wood.
Rip Sam Hinkie.
Right. He died for this. When they both turn 25, are they in the same situation as the Thunder were when they were all 25, knocking on the finals? I think they could be. East is always weak. There isn't much talent rising in the East except the Bucks.
Fourth quarter, where we look at next week's marquee matchup games and some of the games on League Pass. Second week in a row, Nick lost last week's picks. Worst record, which of course means Nick is taking a disgusting shot. How do you feel losing the first 2 ever Sip and Swish shot game? We need to actually come up with a good name for this.
The problem was, I like to pick a little crazy, live on the edge, go with the BPI, and maybe this week will be a little different. But I put too much support on the teams I love, and I need to not do that anymore. But we'll see. Week 3, I could just go the whole way.
Yeah, you've lost a lot on Lakers picks.
Yeah, you need to stop doing that.
All right, so losing week 2. Oh, good.
Oh, that was almost like a double gulper.
Yeah. Yeah, that burns everywhere.
So, what was in the shot this week was vodka, Mount Gay rum, liqueur de violet. I don't speak French, but I'm pretty sure that means like violet flavored liqueur, and tequila.
I honestly think the violet liqueur was the worst part.
His eyes are tearing.
God,
That burnt.
that's brutal.
But I did it. I didn't throw any up.
I'm proud of you.
I shouldn't get so much joy from this, but I do.
That's the best part, the punishment.
So we're going to start off the Wednesday game. We're going to pick a game for each day of the week. The first game is going to be Toronto versus Oklahoma City in OKC. The BPI is in favor of OKC with a 52.5%. OKC's hot right now. They're really putting it together. Number 1 defense. But Toronto is killing it as well. This is a hard pick. It's a close game. I'm going to go OKC. I'm hopping on that. I'm hopping on that defense. Defense wins championships.
OKC.
I like it. I'm going OKC as well. They are thriving on the shit talk that we did regarding their terrible shooting percentage of the big 3 in week 1 of our podcast. And they listened, and they were like, you know what? We're not that bad. And they came out last week, strung together quite a few wins, looked significantly better. They're winning the close games now, and that's something that we're not doing in the beginning of the season. I think this could be wrong. Give me a stat check. I'm pretty sure they've won their last 6 games decided by 6 points or less. And again, that's really where they were falling short earlier this season. I think it's their time to shine. OKC is my second favorite team in all the association. Definitely taking OKC this Wednesday.
I want to ride the Lightning. I want to pick the Thunder. But I just talked up the Raptors so much that I'm going with the Raptors. Just purely because they're so underrated. The Thunder still run a 7 to 8 man rotation. The Thunder are playing so well, but I think they might get gassed out. I think that big 3 is going to be gassed, and the Raptors bench is just going to take it.
Well, that leads perfectly into the next game on Thursday. Speaking of gas teams, Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Milwaukee Bucks. The BPI's got 59% in favor of Milwaukee at home. I'm a huge Giannis Antetokounmpo fan. That's all I need to say. I'm going with the Bucks. I'm taking the team love.
I feel like Nick might lay in his bed at night and just over and over just say Giannis Antetokounmpo.
There's just a giant fat head of Giannis on the ceiling. He just looks up and there's just Giannis's face just staring back at him.
My love for Giannis is like your love for Booker. If anything bad happened to Giannis,
I don't know what I do. I might stop watching basketball if something happened to Booker. I'm at the point of no return. I was a Phoenix Suns fan. It's rough.
Booker or bust?
I think I might be Booker or bust. It's really hard to watch the Suns right now. But
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I'm going with Minnie. Going with the Timberwolves because I don't know if this minute situation is that bad. I don't know. It looks really bad. Everything about it screams that it's bad, but they're the 3rd best team in the West right now.
The best team in the West?
Fourth.
Oh,
third,
okay.
Third or fourth best team in the West. No.
Yeah. No, in the standings, I believe they're 4th. I'm taking Milwaukee because I think this is really a pick'em game, and Milwaukee's at home.
yeah.
So I'm taking the BPI mentality and just really, really prioritizing the home team.
You might be joining me in the shot next week, so we'll have to see. All right, so Friday's game, Houston versus Washington. Washington's at home. Houston's going to be favored in this one, 58%. Now, Houston's had a bit of a rough stretch. Is this the game they bring it back? Does James Harden say, "No, we're gonna win some more games this week"? Washington, you're the first one to go down. I gotta go in favor of Houston. I see them turning it around this week. They got a little cold stint. I think it's coming back.
Have we picked the same team every time so far?
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I'm the opposite of both.
And it's not ending now. I'm taking Houston because this podcast just keeps throwing shade in the direction of Washington, D.C., and specifically you, Bradley Beal. And, Houston's the better team at the end of the day, in all sincerity. I used to live in D.C. I'm not that much of a hater, aside from, the unbearable summers and political climates and, whatnot.
Traffic.
But, oh my God, the traffic. I tried road biking once in D.C., never again. Once was more than enough. But back to basketball. Houston's the better team. I don't care that it's a home game for the Wizards. I take Houston.
I think it's just the rule. If it's versus the Wizards, I'm against the Wizards at this point. I'm going Houston because I hate Bradley Beal.
Wow, we have a very concisive group pick, and as we know in history that we're going to lose that one. All right, so the next game is going to be Saturday. Cleveland versus the Utah Jazz. Lucas, you just hyped up Donovan Mitchell as the next Monta Ellis, Dwayne Wade, third best rookie sophomore in the league.
Tell me you wouldn't want Monta back. Prime Monta. You would love Monta.
Prime Milwaukee Bucks, jacking shots Monta.
That was an awful team. Jennings and Monta.
Or send them back to Golden State when they were terrible.
What I missed.
I loved watching him on Golden State.
That was the
They were
prime
fun.
Monta.
They were fun.
I'm going Cleveland.
Okay, Lucas is taking Cleveland. The Jazz are favored 56% since they're at home against Cleveland.
You know, it's the altitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, Utah Jazz. I mean,
Salt Lake, baby.
they're a good home team. I'm taking Utah.
Ooh, risky pick.
Yeah, I just I'm not a Cavaliers fan at the end of the day, and I don't have a lot of statistical evidence to back up this pick, but I'm going Utah.
This scares me because we haven't made a different pick this entire.
Oh no.
But
You both have taken shots.
This could be the deciding one.
this could be the yeah, no, this will probably be it. I gotta go with Cleveland. So
Let's go Jazz.
Lucas and I versus Jason. All right, we got this one. Now going into the last game we're going to talk about. This is Sunday. This is a big game for this podcast. Jason being a Philadelphia 76ers fan, Lucas being a diehard Phoenix Devin Booker Suns fan. You just got to throw that in there now. Philadelphia's favored 59%. Devin Booker
in Phoenix.
In Phoenix.
Wow.
Devin Booker's back. That might not have been calculated in there yet because it was iffy. But
Yeah.
Phoenix won the last matchup, if memory
is true.
serves.
Devin Booker
Memory
took him
serves. He had
to
46.
the town of pounding.
He really
The
did.
town of pounding.
It was Pound Town. That was just such a fun game to watch because it's always young talent versus young talent is fun to watch, and it was Simmons and Embiid versus Booker, and Booker won, dropping 46.
Yeah, he was the
love
best
that.
player on the court that night. Makes me sad, but it's true.
I'm picking the Suns because
No way.
I love Booker.
I honestly didn't think that. I could.
I'm just rooting for Booker to win this game. It's not the Suns, it's just Booker at this point.
Nick, where do you fall?
See, this is so hard. Because the last time I saw this game up, I was like, Philly's got this. Easy game. Suns suck. They'll always suck. But
Booker scored 70 points in a game.
yeah, I
You
guess
could do it again.
the great defense of Avery Bradley. Just kidding, he didn't play. I really want to pick the Suns, but I really don't want to do another shot at the same time.
Oh no.
You know what? Going with the gut, Philadelphia. They're not going to lose 2 to that Suns squad.
Looks like Cleveland, Utah will be what decides. Well, unless Lucas just loses. I feel like we haven't even thought about that as a possible option here.
It could be a landslide loss.
Right, yeah.
I could lose every single game.
I've got to go with Philly. I've tried the reverse, I'm a fan, so I'm not gonna pick them thing, and that actually hasn't worked for me. So I'm taking Philly, and I agree. It's just I think Philly's the better team, and they'll get the best of them this time. I will leave you guys with one Christmas memory from this year, and so like we've said, we all tied one on a little bit last night. The end of my night is a little fuzzy, truth be told. We were definitely passing around a bottle of bourbon for a while. And so I wake up this morning, and I wake up to the smell of Italian food.
Ooh.
And my stomach kind of hurts. And I'm my eyes are kind of just starting to open. I'm like, what's going on? I look to my left, and on my bedside table is a half-eaten plate of chicken parm.
Ooh. Did you cook chicken parm last night when you were tied one on?
Can't say. I have zero recollection of where this chicken parm came from, of eating it, of how I even physically carried it back to the bedroom. So what I'm here to say is, Merry Christmas, fans of the Sip and Swish.